So hello everybody, my name is Paul Flanagan. I'm a product account manager with Araxxe, and today I'm going to be presenting our transit carrier monitoring service. This is the service that we provide to operators around the world to be able to optimize the money that they spend on international traffic termination. The presentation today will be broken down into two parts. I'll initially start with a quick summary or overview of the issues and the problems that we're going to address, and then I'll move in to talk in detail about the problem, what's the need, and how our service helps carriers to address the issues that we've identified. So let's start with the quick summary. Araxxe is a proven and innovative company. We've pioneered over the years test call generation for the identification of telecoms fraud and billing verification. Our service has several international patents, including the foundational patent for CLI transmission monitoring. Our transit carrier monitoring service is a new way of looking at international termination fraud. We're taking the perspective of the originating operator rather than the traditional view of the terminating operator. This solution has been implemented in different operators across Europe and North America during 2022. Our clients are currently using this service to ensure termination quality, enhance their routing selection, and optimize the international termination spend. Araxxe's solution provides a quick implementation and is risk-free. There are very limited prerequisites. There's no connection required to operator systems, and the service can be provided within 6 weeks of receiving an order. One of the main advantages of this service is the pricing is simple, it's attractive and predictable. So there's no restrictions in terms of the number of calls that you generate or the number of users that use this platform. The operator has a predictable yearly fee that they will pay for this service. So let's talk about the problem first of all. Based on the testing that we carry out on a daily basis, Araxxe is well aware that operators around the world are overpaying for termination fees for a quality of service that they don't really receive. Over recent years, we've seen this problem exaggerated because since 2015, there's been a downward trend in international voice traffic and therefore a drop in transit carrier revenues. So as consumers have moved from traditional voice services to over-the-top applications, that's had a huge impact on the revenues of international carriers. As a result of this, many international transit carriers have deployed aggressive margin maximization techniques such as traffic blending. So instead of terminating traffic in the most legitimate way, they deploy schemes such as CLI spoofing, SIM box termination, false answering, etc., in order to improve their margins and improve the overall profitability of the traffic. What's the result of this? Well, transit carriers don't always comply with the quality of service and the SLAs that they provide to operators. It's difficult for certain operators to monitor and measure the quality of service, and the issues often go unaddressed as operators have little visibility of the issue and they don't have the evidence to challenge the carriers in the way in which they would like. So this really leads to three main problems for the operators. The first one is that it has a negative financial impact. So in effect, they're paying inflated termination fees. They pay for a quality of service that they don't necessarily receive. As a result of that, they receive lower retail revenues. So due to lower average call duration, due to lower answer rates, retail revenues are not where they should be. There's also a knock-on effect where there's lower incoming interconnect revenues because customers overseas that receive a call from an unknown or unregistered CLI cannot call back to the person who originates the call when there's a missed call. On the customer experience side, obviously the lower answer rate leads to customer frustration. There's no callback, obviously, higher call setup time, and often poorer low voice quality. All of these things combined increase the risk of customer churn, either from a service where they pay for the call to an OTT service, or from an operator to another operator who provides a better quality of international service. The last element is the liability risk. Obviously, traffic passing over grey routes through carriers that don't have the most secure operations and systems leads to the risk of call confidentiality being compromised. So what do we see as the solution, or what do we believe should happen as a result of these issues? Well, at Araxxe, we believe that operators should take a proactive approach rather than a reactive approach to this problem. And the way to do that is through continuous, unlimited end-to-end testing. We believe that end-to-end testing is important so that we have a controlled situation where a call is generated with an expected result, and we can highlight situations and provide reports and evidence where those calls do not terminate in exactly the way that is expected. On the basis of these transactions, we can provide actionable reports. This means that we have indisputable proof of fraud occurring that can be presented to transit carriers. The last element is the unlimited testing. With the Araxxe approach, we allow you unlimited testing. So the service or the price of the service is not dependent on the number of test calls. Unlimited testing allows maximum flexibility in developing business requirements and ensures the operator with predictable costs. How does this happen? Well, Araxxe generates test calls from your network to international destinations. This can be done either via SIM cards or via SIP accounts that we set up with your network. We have the ability to select the transit carriers and manage the CLI that is delivered. Those calls are then routed via your transit carriers to the international destination. Calls will be received on our robots or test call generators, where we can analyze the results and how those calls terminate, calculate the quality of service KPI, and generate alarms and certified proofs of delivery, indicating that the call was delivered correctly or incorrectly. So how is this service delivered? It's basically delivered via two elements. The first element is a continuous base campaign. This is managed by a dedicated Araxxe client executive according to the specifications that we agree with the operator. The objective of this base campaign is to run on a 24/7 basis, 365 days a year, generate coverage to all of your main destinations, covering between 90 and 95% of your transit costs. Because it runs on a continuous basis, it identifies traffic blending schemes by generating sufficient calls to identify them. And it proactively monitors CLI accuracy and fraud delivery to the agreed scope and schedule. As part of the SLAs, we present real-time results, and we also run monthly workshops to review the status of the campaign and make any enhancements that are required for future months. The second element of the testing is the on-demand testing. This allows users from the operator to generate on-demand testing. So on-the-fly testing, if you want, yeah? Allows users to schedule testing immediately and allows users to schedule testing on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. So this would be used in situations where you've implemented a new carrier or you want to react to a customer request or complaint, yeah? And obviously, the results of those tests are available on a real-time basis through our Araxxe Live portal. There are three elements or three core principles that we use when designing the base campaign. The first one is that it must operate on a continuous basis, so it's 24/7, 365 days a year. It should cover the countries that account for the majority of your international wholesale costs. So normally we recommend the top 20 to 30 countries, which represent about 90 to 95% of your wholesale spend. We also recommend that it generates sufficient test call volume to be statistically significant so that we can identify those traffic blending schemes over a period of time. Reporting is delivered via Araxxe's interactive portal. This allows users to quickly and easily identify the status of the campaign, identify issues that are occurring, and drill down to the details of those issues. It also provides the users with the opportunity to generate ad hoc tests as and when they are required. How can you use this information? Well, the outcome of these tests can be used to proactively manage your relationships with your carrier partners. We see 4 areas where this interaction can take place. The first one is perhaps renegotiating with transit carriers when the quality of service is not as expected. Based on our results, you may choose to issue formal complaints, which are obviously supported by sufficient evidence, to your transit carrier partners and ask them to make improvements. In extreme circumstances, you may threaten or claim penalties against the quality of service or against the carrier based on the quality of service for service level agreement breaches. And finally, if things are not resolved to a satisfactory nature, you may decide that you want to switch transit carriers for specific destinations based on the results of the testing. What is the financial impact for an operator of poor quality international termination? Well, we've created an estimate based on our experience and the campaigns that we've conducted so far. So within this estimate, there are 3 elements. We've generated the estimated traffic volumes on a subscriber base of 10 million customers. We've estimated the cost of that traffic to the operator. And then in the last section, based on the infection rates or the number of calls that we estimate terminate incorrectly, the financial impact to the operator. So in the first section, international outgoing traffic, on a basis of 10 million subscribers with an average of 14 minutes of international traffic per month, we estimate that this operator generates about 1.6 billion minutes of international traffic per year. Rather than try and break that down by every country and every termination rate in the world, we've broken it down into 3 rating categories. Zone L, which is low rate termination or low termination rate countries. Zone M, which is medium termination rate countries. And Zone H, which is high termination rate countries. So on average, 80% of the traffic would terminate to low termination rate countries, 15% to medium termination rate countries, and the remaining 5% to high cost destinations. Yeah. So if we calculate all that out by the number of minutes, we estimate that this operator spends about 36 million euros per year on international traffic termination. Then, based on our statistics and our knowledge of the market, we apply the infection rates or the number of calls that terminate incorrectly to each of those destinations. So 2% to low value or low termination rate countries, 10% to medium termination rate countries, and 20% to high termination countries. And when we compile all of that together, we end up with an estimate of just over 4 million euros in potential overspend. So that is the overspend that carriers make for a quality of service that they don't receive. We believe that this is actually a very conservative estimate. It doesn't take into account some of the impact on the retail revenues. So we believe it is a very, very conservative estimate. So in terms of delivering the service, the prerequisites are very, very straightforward. We can be up and running within 5 weeks. Basically, what we need from you is a list of your top destinations that account for 90 to 95% of your termination costs. And then you tell us how you want to generate this traffic. Normally, we recommend for a quick start and to get quick results that we start with SIM cards, and then we evolve into setting up SIP trunks to give more flexibility over the testing. So let me finish by talking a little bit about Araxxe and why we believe we are the best vendor to provide this service to operators around the world. With over 17 years of experience, we've developed a global network of 360 robots covering 150 countries. So by robots, I mean test call generators. I'm using an Araxxe term. This is supported by over 2,500 telecoms resources. So by telecoms resources, I mean access to SIM cards, access to SIP trunks, etc. Yeah? We've delivered services to over 240 mobile operators, including some of the biggest and most important operators in the world, delivering quality of service and fraud detection solutions. We have a history of innovation with over 10 patents, and we work to a number of international standards that give our customers the assurance that we are providing top quality, comprehensive service on their behalf. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. Again, my name is Paul Flanagan. I'm a product account manager with Araxxe, and I'll be happy to receive your questions.